So yeah, with this note, let us start the session. So if you remember, yesterday we were discussing about the concept of a nested class. So can anyone tell me what is the use of nested class? What is the syntax? Briefly, if you can summarize the last topic, then we can start the today's topic. Anyone?
Nested class.
Yes. So what was that? Why we need to define nested class in Java? What is the use? What is the syntax? What advantages we may get if we use a nested class in our program? But I want other participants, those who are not replying. Correct? Jatin, you are right. So I want answer from the people who have not responded so far. Anyone? There are many students who have not replied, and I am not marking the attendance as well. This is for your information. There are many students. Yes, Bhakti, are you there? Bhakti? Meet Kathrotia, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so can you tell me what we were discussing yesterday? Yes, go ahead. Meet Dave, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, can you tell me what we were discussing yesterday?
Sir, private class, પછી nested class.
Nested class. Okay, so what was the use of nested class? Why we implement nested class in our program? What is the use?
સર એટલે ક્લાસની અંદર આપણે ક્લાસ લખી શકીએ.
Yeah, but why? What is the need? And that is fine. If we define class inside class, then it is known as nested class. But what is the use? Natasha, are you there? Makwana Natasha.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so can you tell me what is the use of nested class?
No, sir.
Why? So you are not getting or you are not there? What was the problem?
ના સર હું કાલે હતી જ તે પણ આ નેસ્ટેડ ક્લાસનો યુઝ ભૂલી ગઈ.
See, again, I am saying this semester is very important for all of you. And whatever subjects you are having, those subjects are also very important. So every time I am saying again and again, make sure that the fundamental things of all the subjects are very much clear. Otherwise, it is going to be a big trouble for you. That is for sure. See, in the upcoming semester, you will be having subjects where the basic things will be of these subjects only. And if you don't know the basic things of these subjects, then surely in the upcoming semester, you will find those subjects very difficult. Fine. So from this semester, whatever subjects you are having, these subjects can turn your life. एंड तो अभी मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि आपको अगर अभी भी कोई टॉपिक में कोई भी सब्जेक्ट में कोई डाउट है, ऑन द स्पॉट यू कैन स्टॉप द फैकल्टी मेंबर, ट्राई टू पार्टिसिपेट, because once this time will go, it will never come back again. And later on, you will realize that it was a great time, but we wasted that time. So this time will not come again. And in future, surely you will miss this time, because this is the right time where you can focus on your study, and you can do preparation for making your life better, because these are the subjects which can simply make your life. If you talk about Java programming, if you talk about PHP, if you talk about CCT, see, these are the very important subjects. तो अभी आप जैसे लेक्चर अटेंड कर रहे हो ऐसे ही करेंगे तो surely it is a big problem. Fine, this will not work. And this is not in my hand also. I cannot control this because you are not present physically. So it is really difficult for all the faculty members also to have a track of all the students as far as online sessions are concerned. Fine, I can simply ask any question to 2 or 3 students, and if you're not replying, what can I do? I can give punishment as a part of assignment or any other things, but that I don't want to do. I don't like to give assignments like that, where you people will just copy it. And there is no use of giving assignments 10 times, 15 times. I don't like that, because it is useless. Even though if you write same question 10 times, what will happen? And you will be having writing practice only, otherwise you cannot understand that topic by writing it for 10 to 15 times. So I don't believe in that. The only thing is I believe that now you people should be mature enough, because now you are in 4th semester and you have already completed 2 years at Arca University. You know the nature of each and every faculty members. Now you know the importance of subjects. So now you should be mature enough, and you should tackle the decision of your life by your own. क्योंकि अब ऐसा नहीं होगा कि मैं हर बार आपको बोलूं कि ये करना है वो करना है, मैं जैसा बोलूं वैसा आप करोगे. And it is your life and you are the one who will have to decide it. I cannot interrupt you. Fine, so yeah, with this note, let us start the session. I don't want to waste my time and your time, because time is money. Yeah, so we will say, yesterday we were discussing about nested class. Can anyone help me to briefly revise that topic? Anyone?
सर नेस्टेड क्लास हमें क्लासेस को ग्रुप में ऐसे बनाने में हेल्प करता है.
Yes, correct. If we define class inside class, then it is known as nested class. Then what is the need of having nested class in our program? What is the need? Can anyone tell me why we should define nested class? What is the advantage of having nested class in our project or program? Anyone? Correct. Jatin, your answer is correct. See, the biggest advantage of having nested class is if I want to access any private properties of any class, then I can access it if I go with the concept of nested class. Otherwise, for different class, I cannot access any private properties. It could be data members, it could be methods, it could be constructors. I cannot do anything if it is private. Fine. So make sure that whenever you want to access private data members, you can go with the concept of either interface, or you can go with nested class. Interface also we are going to cover later on. At that time you will realize using interface also we can access the private members. So at that time we will discuss how to do it. And to call the properties, or I can say to access the properties of nested class, you may have two approaches. From outer class only you can create the object of inner class and you can access all the properties. That is one way. If you remember yesterday, we have gone with both the approaches. From outer class, if I want to access any properties of inner class, what I can do? I can simply create the object of inner class the way we are creating object of ordinary class. Class name, object name equal to new class name, like that. But from any different class, which is not the outer class, from that class, if I want to access the properties, then I cannot create an object of inner class directly. Straight away, I cannot create the object of inner class. It is not possible in Java. So can anyone tell me from outside class, if I want to access any properties of inner class by creating an object of inner class, then what is the syntax of creating object of inner class? Can
સર
anyone
પહેલા
tell me?
તો આ
Yes.
આઉટર ક્લાસ નો ઓબ્જેક્ટ હોવો જરૂરી.
Very good. Step number one is
પછી
we need to create an object of outer class. Correct.
પછી આઉટર ક્લાસ નેમ ડોટ ઇનર ક્લાસ નેમ પછી સ્પેસ પછી ઓબ્જેક્ટ નેમ
Very good.
ઇક્વલ ટુ ઓબ્જેક્ટ ઓફ આઉટર ક્લાસ પછી
Very
ડોટ ન્યુ કીવર્ડ અને
Okay.
ઇનર ક્લાસ નેમ અને પેરેન્થીસિસ.
Very good. So that syntax is correct. See, again I'm repeating, whenever you want to create an object of inner class from any class which is not even outer class, then you should follow the syntax which Hardik was saying. First you need to create an object of outer class like ordinary class. So we can create the object of outer class by following the syntax class name object name equal to new class name. Once you create the object of outer class, then to create an object of inner class, what is the syntax? Outer class name dot inner class name. Then you can write object, whatever name you want to give, that name you should write. Then is equal to, then object of outer class dot new keyword and inner class name and parenthesis. So this is the syntax using which you can create an object of inner class from any class. And then using that object straight away you can access all the properties of the inner class which you have defined. Is it fine? Any doubts so far?
સર
Yes.
સર એકવાર એક એક્ઝામ્પલ આપશો
Example of inner class?
એટલે આ નેસ્ટેડ ક્લાસ નું એમ એટલે પ્રાઇવેટ પ્રોપર્ટી એક્સેસ કરવા માટે.
Yes, sure. Yesterday only we were discussing that thing, if you remember. Yesterday we tried
Yes,
to
sir.
access the private properties as well. But quickly, I'll take 2 to 3 minutes, and today also let us see that. I don't have any problem. Fine. So now let me share my screen. So for example, let's say, as you said, you want to go for one more example. So let's say practice. Let me define main method. Let's say I'm having one class. Let me go with class A. Inside class A, let me define one private member. Let's say private integer a is equal to 20. Let me define one method also. Public void print. And let us print something. System dot out dot println. Print is called. Now inside this class, I am creating one more class which will be the inner class for me, or I can say nested class. So let's say I have created class B inside class A, and in this class also I may have various properties. Let's say integer B is 30. I may have one method also, public void display. And let me access the private variable as well. Let's say I'm trying to access A, and here also let me print E. Fine. So it's very simple program. What I have done, I have created one class where I have defined main method. Then I have created one more class which is A. Inside that class I have defined one variable and one method. Inside that class I have defined one variable, one method. Then within this class I have created one more class which is B. So this class is nested class for me because I have defined this class within class A. And as you know, whenever you define any class inside different class, then that class is known as nested class. In class B, you can say I have defined two more properties. One variable is there, which is normal variable, and one method is there, which is display. So now let's say I want to access all the properties from this practice class. So for that, I need to write something here. So straight away, if I want to access the variable A and print method, then can anyone tell me what should I do to get access of variable A and print method?
ऑब्जेक्ट बना के प्रिंट मेथड को कॉल
सर ऑब्जेक्ट
Correct.
बनाना पड़ेगा आउटर क्लास का.
Correct. So I need to create an object of this outer class, which is A, and using that object, I can access this variable as well as this method, but I cannot access this variable as it is declared with private keyword. So I can simply access this method using that object. So let me just create the object. You need to follow the same syntax: class name, then object name equal to new keyword, again class name, and semicolon. So now I am having object of class A. Using this object, I can call the method ob.print. And so now if I will run this file, then surely I will get this output. Print is called. Let me just execute it. See, today I don't need to set the path because if you remember yesterday, we have set the path using both the approaches, temporary and permanent. So I did it permanent also. So now I'm not getting any kind of error because path is already there. Now let me just run this file. And I'm getting print is called. So this is what we know. To access property of any class, we need to create an object of that class. Now my question is, I want to access the variable B as well as I want to call this method display, which is defined in inner class. So now I can have two ways. Either I can access the properties of inner class from outer class. So here I can create an object. So what I can do, as soon as I call this method, here only I can create an object like this, B, then let's say ob1 equal to new B. This is what I can do. And using that object, what you can do, you can access all the properties. So what you can do, ob1 dot, can anyone tell me what should I do now? Yes, can anyone tell me what should I do now?
ob1.display.
Correct. ob1 dot display. Fine. Now let me execute it again. And you can see I'm getting print is called. Then from that method only I'm trying to access display method. So it will go inside this display method. And here it will print the value of variables A and B, where variable A is private, you can see. Still, it can access the private data members as it is inner class, so it can access it. So you will get the value of variable A and B. So I'm getting 20 and 30. Let me know if you have any doubts so far.
સર એકવાર આ ફૂલ કોડ દેખાડો ને આખો કોડ.
Yes, any doubt?
સર એકવાર આખો કોડ દેખાડો ને.
Yes, sure. See, this is the main method. This is class A. Inside that class, there are two properties. Inside inner class also, there are two properties. And from outer class, this is how I can access the properties of inner class. Now we will see, other than outer class, from let's say from practice class, if I want to access the properties of nested class, then what should I do? That now, that thing we are going to discuss now. And so this is one way. Now let's say I don't want to do this, but I want to access it from here. Then also you can access it from any different class also you can access the properties of inner class. And for that you need to remember those two steps which we were discussing yesterday. Step number 1 is you need to create an object of outer class, which you have already done. You can see we have already created an object of outer class. Now second step says you need to use outer class name, which is A, dot inner class name, which is B, space object name, let's say OB3, equal to then object of outer class, which is OB in this case. So I need to write OB dot new keyword space inner class name, which is B, and semicolon. Are you getting this syntax? Yes. Fine, so it's very simple. You just need to remember the syntax and you need to follow it. That's it. So again I'm repeating, outer class name dot inner class name, then object name equal to object of outer class dot new and inner class name. That's it. So now you can say OB3 is the object of inner class. OB3 is the object of this inner class B. Using this object, you can access all the properties of that inner class. If I want to access B, I can do it. If I want to access display method, I can call it. So let me access both the things. If I want to print, let's say value of variable B, I can write ob3.b. Similarly, if I want to call that method, I can do like ob3.display. Now when I will execute this, what will happen? First it will try to call this method print. So it will go inside print and we will get this statement. Print is called. Then it will display the value of variable B, which is 30. And then it will call display method and will print the value of both the variables A and B. So the output would be print is called, then 30, then 20 and 30. This should be the sequence of output. Let's see. You can see print is called, then it prints 30 and then it calls display method where we have tried to print both the values A and B, which is 20 and 30. Any doubt? So this was all about nested class. Tell me if you have any doubt. Anyone? Okay, great. So only Jatin is replying. What about other guys?
No, sir, no
Yes,
doubt.
sir.
Yes
No
means
doubt,
what?
sir.
No doubt or you have doubt?
No doubt, sir. No doubt.
Okay, great. Fine, chalo. So now let us discuss very interesting topic, which is method overriding. So we have already completed method overloading, if you remember. Concept of method overloading in Java. Can anyone briefly revise the method overloading? What is it? Why we need it? Anyone?
એના મેથડ ના નામ એક હોય એમાં આર્ગ્યુમેન્ટ અલગ અલગ હોય.
Very good.
Alag
So
alag bhai.
correct. If we have more number of methods where method name is similar for all the methods, but arguments or you can say parameters are different, then those methods are known as overloaded methods. So can anyone tell me what is the use of having overloaded methods in our program? Why we need to define overloaded methods? What is the advantage of having those methods in the program?
સર પ્રોગ્રામની રીડેબિલિટી વધારે.
Correct. Very good. So as we have discussed, the only intention is to make the program more readable. Why? Because we have discussed many examples. For example, if I want to find area of any area of, let's say, different shapes, I want to find area of rectangle, area of triangle, area of circle, then I can go with same method name, which is area, but it depends on the object. And if I want to find area of circle, I need to give radius. If I want to find area of triangle, then accordingly I need to give the parameters. For square, rectangle, for polygon, for different shapes, I need to change the parameters only. But from method name only, I can assume that this method will try to find the area of certain shapes. So it will simply increase the readability of your program. So this was all about method overloading. but now very similar approach is there, which is known as method overriding. Minor difference is there that we are going to discuss today. And let me write method overloading here. Known as compile time polymorphism. Why that we are going to discuss, don't worry. And method overriding is known as runtime polymorphism. That we are going to discuss today, why overloading is compile time and overriding is runtime. But before moving to that part, let me just discuss what is method overriding and why it is there. See, before this, now you know what is the concept of inheritance also, and you can now establish a relationship between two or more classes by using any types of inheritance. If you want to go with single level, then you may have two classes only. One will act as a superclass, other one will act as a subclass. If you want to go for multi-level, you may have more number of classes. Again, you can establish the relationship. Fine, for hybrid, for hierarchical. So now you are aware about the entire thing, which is inheritance, because in method overriding we are going to use that approach also. So that's why I'm revising everything again. Fine. So the way more number of methods are defined in same class, and if method name are same and parameters are different, those methods are known as overloaded methods. Similarly, let's say I'm having two class. Let me just define two class here. Let's say class A, and I'm having one more class which is class B. Now, for example, in both the class I am having same method. Let's say public void display. Same parameters. And in both the classes I am having same method with same parameter. Everything is same. Access specifier, return type, method name, parameters, everything is same. But both the methods are different, are defined in different class. Fine. And here if I give relationship by using inheritance, if I write class B extends A. Fine. Class B extends A. Now inheritance says if I am having class B as a subclass, then by creating object of class B only, I can access properties of both the classes, class B and class A. Are you with me? Are you agree with this? I am saying for this scenario, if I am having object of class B, then using that object I can access properties of both the classes, class B and class A. Are you agree with this?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. So now in this case, let's say if I create object of class B, then using that object, which display method is going to be invoked? Display method of class B or display method of class A?
एरर आएगी
Error. Why? Why?
नहीं वो बी की कॉल होगी शायद
Okay. What about others?
સર પેરામીટર્સ ને બધા સેમ હોય તો ઓવરરાઇટ નો થઈ જાય?
So this is what we are going to discuss. But for this scenario, using the object of class B, which display method is going to be invoked? This is what I'm asking. Otherwise, surely it will override the method.
સર બી ની થશે
હા સર બી ની થશે બી.
Correct. Now let me define the main class. Let's say class demo override, and here I'm defining main method. And in this class, let's say I'm creating object of class B. And I'm trying to access display method by calling it. Yeah, and let me remove this. And save this file with this name.
सर उसमें कुछ लिख दो मेथड में।
Yeah, correct. Let me write something in both the methods so that we can check which method is invoked. Let us write this is a display of class B and this is display of class A. Fine.
સર
Now, yes.
સર આમાં
Yeah.
એડ કરી દેજો ને વેઇટિંગ લોબી.
Okay, I've already done it, but still people are coming and going. Okay, chalo, done. So now let me just save this file, execute it. Java C demo override. Oh, I just forgot to put semicolon. Let me run this file demo override. So you can see I'm getting display of class B. So here can we say that this concept violates the use of inheritance? Using inheritance, I should be able to access the properties of superclass also. But you can say I can never access this display method. Yes or no? If I want to access this display method, then anyhow I need to create an object of class A, even though inheritance is there. So here rule is getting violated. What do you think? Yes or no?
सर वो हमने डिस्कस किया था धीस, उससे हो सकता?
Sorry?
धीस डिस्कस किया था ना?
No, this we are using to access the properties of same class, but here the methods are defined in different class. So in that case, this will not work.
Okay.
Using superclass, we can do that. That we are going to discuss. Don't worry. But the thing which I am trying to convey is, even though the concept of inheritance is there, using the object of subclass, I cannot access the properties of superclass. So this is against the rule of inheritance. What do you think? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, for normal method, for example, if display1 is there, and if I write display1, then see, I'm creating an object of class B only, and class A and B is having relationship due to this keyword, because I'm applying inheritance. So using the object of subclass, I can access this display1. Let us see. And you can say I'm getting display of class A. But the only problem is now both the methods are same. So now the problem is if I want to access display method of superclass, then even though inheritance is there, I cannot access it. To access it, I need to create an object of class A. So this is against the rule of inheritance. Inheritance says using the object of subclass, you can access all the properties of superclass. But in this scenario, I'm not able to do it. Fine. Just because this concept is known as method overriding. See here what happens. The display method of subclass overrides the display method of superclass because everything is same in both the classes. So whenever you create an object of subclass, as I said, it will first try to find this method in the same class only. It will never go for checking the superclass. As soon as you create an object of class B and using that object, if you try to access display method, what interpreter will do? It will try to check for display method in the same class only. तो पहले वो सिर्फ क्लास B में चेक करेंगे. क्लास B में अगर उसको डिस्प्ले मेथड मिल जाती है, then it will never go for checking this inheritance. As soon as it will find this display method, will execute it. तो यहाँ से वो चेक करने भी नहीं जाएगा कि क्लास ए में कौन सी मेथड है. तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, यहाँ पे जो सब क्लास की डिस्प्ले मेथड है वो सुपर क्लास के डिस्प्ले मेथड को हाइड करता है, ऐसा हम बोल सकते हैं. सो दैट इज व्हाई इट इज नोन एज मेथड ऑफ सब क्लास विल ओवरराइड द मेथड ऑफ सुपर क्लास. ये कभी मिलेगी ही नहीं. सो नाउ व्हाट डू यू थिंक, दिस इज गुड और बैड? So this concept is known as method overriding. So according to you now, what do you think? Is it a good thing or bad thing for programmer to have this
Sir,
concept?
bad thing.
Bad thing. Why?
सर कोई भी ऐसे दो हम भूल से भी दो ऐसी मेथड क्रिएट हो जाती है तो सर तो दूसरी मेथड का जो फंक्शन होता है वो
Okay.
तो रन नहीं होता ना.
Yeah, so you are right. For you it is bad thing, and for you if it is bad thing, then for all the programmers it should be a bad thing. Then why this concept is introduced?
Sir, can we use this like overloading? Like we can give अलग अलग આપણે આર્ગ્યુમેન્ટ જે અંદર આવે એ અલગ અલગ આપી
In
દે
that
તો એ
case,
રીતનું.
but in that case, those methods are not known as method overriding. See, if I give one parameter here, then both the methods are different. This is not overriding. Fine. Here now I can pass the value. Let's say I give 10. So what it will do? It will try to find display method where there is one parameter. So it is not there in class B. So in that case, it will go for superclass, and here it will find that method with one parameter. So it will execute this. So this is not overriding. I cannot say this method overrides this method. To have method overriding concept, method name and signature must be same. Parameters and method name, everything is same. Then and only then it can override the method. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
So for example, if I write one parameter here, so now surely it will call the method of superclass. Let's see. You can say I'm getting a display of class A. So here I cannot say this display method overrides the display method of superclass. This is not the case, and this concept is also not known as method overriding because both the methods are different. But now this is method overriding. Everything is same in both the classes. Inheritance is there, and inheritance says using the object of subclass you can access all the properties of superclass, but still I'm not able to do it. Why? Because display method of subclass overrides the display method of superclass. So now you are saying this is bad thing, then why this concept is introduced? If it is bad, then, and if it is not useful, then this concept is not there. But still it is there, so there must be certain advantages. So can anyone tell me, can you give your idea that why this concept is there? What is the advantage of having method overriding? Anyone?
सर एक सिनारियो लीजिए जिसमें जैसे कि ये एक क्लास है का मतलब
Yes, go ahead.
सर वो एग्जांपल ही सोच रहा हूँ.
Okay.
अगर मतलब क्लास एक में कोई एक मेथड है जिसको आपको फिर से यूज करना है तो क्लास बी में भी वैसा ही मतलब हो जाए इसलिए मेथड ओवरराइडिंग यूज होता है सर.
Yes, you are very nearer, but you are not able to explain it clearly, but you are quite nearer. See, for example, I am having two classes, class A and class B. Now let's say for my case, my requirement is I want to go with same name with same parameter in both the classes. Fine. So if I do like this, then I'm not able to access this method. But many times we may have certain requirements that I want to add some more logic in the appropriate method. Let's say, for example, class A is having this method where logic is this display of class A. Now in class B, where display method is already defined in class A, I want to go with different logic, but I don't want to change the parameters and method name. I want to add certain specific implementation. So in that case, if this concept is there, then and only then I can do it. To make sure that both the methods are having different logic. Even though the method name and parameters are same, let's say I want to add specific implementation, which is already provided by superclass. See, here superclass is having already this method and certain logic is also there. But I don't want to execute this logic. For the same method, I want to add my own logic for class B. And that different logic I have placed here, if you can see. And so whenever you have certain requirements where for the same method of superclass, if you want to add your own logic, if you want to add the specific implementation, in that case you can always define the same method with same parameter in the subclass and just go with the different logic. तो ऐसी रिक्वायरमेंट कहाँ पे होगी जब हम इनबिल्ट क्लासेस स्टडी करेंगे. There are many inbuilt classes where there are few methods, and in your class, which is user defined class, you are supposed to access those methods. It doesn't mean that you want to execute the entire logic again, but you are going to use the same method only. And आगे अभी हम एंड्रॉइड जब पढ़ेंगे तब भी सेम कंसेप्ट वहां पे आएगा, मेथड ओवरराइडिंग. एंड जावा में भी अभी आगे आएगा कि जहाँ पे कोई इनबिल्ट क्लास है, उसकी कोई इनबिल्ट मेथड है. लेट्स से दिस डिस्प्ले मेथड इज इनबिल्ट. जस्ट एज्यूम दैट दिस इज एन इनबिल्ट मेथड, but I don't want to execute the logic of this display method. Rather, I want to implement one more method which can override this method. So what I will do, I will simply use the same name with same parameter, but instead of the predefined logic, I will add my own logic. So that logic will be different. Fine. So using this concept, the only thing is you can say, if I want to add some specific implementation of the method which is already created in superclass, then always I can do that using the concept of method overriding. And this can be decided during runtime only. At compile time, JVM is not having any idea which display is going to be invoked. See, everything is same. And if I'm creating object of class B, syntax wise it is correct. I can create the object like this. Using that object, I can call the method which is display. So at compile time, JVM is not having any idea that which display method is going to be invoked. This decision will be taken at runtime only. At runtime, when it will go for finding the methods, at that time it will realize that it will call the method of subclass only. And that is why it is known as runtime polymorphism. If you remember in the initial 2 or 3 minutes, I said method overloading is known as compile time, while method overriding is known as runtime. Fine. So in case of method overriding, this decision is handled during runtime only. See, both the methods are same. But if you go with method overloading, then it depends on the parameter only. So at compile time only, it can be decided that it is going to invoke this method having these many parameters. So for example, if I write, let's say ob.display10, and I am having one more display method. Here, as soon as I declare the method and I pass the parameter while calling the method, you and JVM both may have an idea that it will call this display method only, where there is one parameter. Fine. So this can be done compile time only. You don't need to wait for execution of program. But in case of method overriding, it will be during runtime only, and that is why it is known as runtime polymorphism. Ultimately, both are polymorphism only, but method overloading is compile time and method overriding is runtime. Are you getting me? So these are the very basic topics. It is not that anyhow we need to use this concept in our program, but you should understand this. Mostly we have rare requirement where people are using this concept like method overriding. Method overloading is widely used, but method overriding and the other concept, which is abstract class and all, they are rarely used. But still, as a programmer, we need to understand what is it, how to do it, and what is the real requirement. And so that's why we generally cover all these topics. Otherwise, you don't need to worry about these topics. The only thing is, if I am having two classes, if inheritance is there, in both the classes I am having same method name with same parameters, then this concept is known as method overriding, where method of subclass will override the method of superclass. That's it. Now tell me if you have any doubt.
No, sir.
Anyone? Is it fine?
No, sir. Yes, sir. Fine.
Okay, great. Fine, so you just need to remember these rules. Make sure that inheritance is applied. Otherwise, if you just remove this, then now this is not method overriding. See, both the classes are different. Classes are not having any relationship. So now I cannot say this is method overriding. Fine. Now to access both the methods, I need to create object of appropriate class. So it is a different topic. But if I am having two classes, inheritance is applied, and in both the classes same method with same parameters, if it is there, then that concept is known as method overriding, which is also known as runtime polymorphism. During runtime only it will be checked. If I call ob.display, then JVM is not having any idea which display is going to be invoked, because both are same, and using this object I should be able to access both the methods. Ob is the object of class B, and due to inheritance I can access the properties of subclass and superclass using the same object. Fine. So at that time JVM may not have any idea, but during runtime only it will identify that it will call this method only, and it will override this method. It will never go to this method. So it is getting hidden due to this method. So this entire concept is known as method overriding. So I'm waiting for your reply. Many of you are saying you don't have any doubt. You are getting it. Yeah, and regarding memory, you don't need to worry, because method, whenever you define method, it doesn't occupy any memory. Fine. As soon as you create an object, then only the concept of memory will be in a picture. Whenever you will create a method, then it's a logic only. It will never occupy memory. So now the one thing which was left, we were discussing about final keyword. Fine. Final with method. I think that is left. Let me just cover it within 2 minutes only. So if you remember, we were using final keyword with variable, then we can use final with method, and we can use final with class also. So we have discussed final with variable and class. So can anyone tell me what was that? Anyone? What if we define any variable with final keyword?
Any value modify no
Sir,
modify नहीं कर
Correct. If we define any variable with final keyword, then we cannot modify the value of that variable throughout the program. Fine. And even though if I'll try to modify the value, then I will get compilation error. That variable A is declared with final keyword, so you cannot modify it. Similarly, if I declare any class with final keyword, then what will happen? Yes, if I declare any class with final keyword, then what will happen?
सर तो फिर क्लास के वेरिएबल्स कोई और यूज नहीं कर सकता?
inheritance नहीं होगा.
Correct. You cannot inherit the properties of that class. Fine. If the class is declared with final keyword, you cannot inherit any property of that class. So now we are going to see how we can use final keyword with method. So now let's say I create one class A, and in this class let me define one normal method, public void print. Let's say I'm having one more class which is B, which is the subclass of A. So I write class B extends A. And now let me go with the concept of method overriding. So what I will do, I will define the same method in both the classes with same parameter, everything is same. But instead of normal method, I will define this method with final keyword. and let me print statements in both the methods. Print of A, and here let me write print of B. What will happen when I will create an object of class B here? Let's say B OB equal to new B, and using this object, if I try to access print method, what do you think? What will happen? When I will execute this file, what will happen? Yes.
प्रिंट ऑफ ए लिखा है।
Sorry. Print of, okay, here I have written A. It is print of B. So now what will happen?
सर प्रिंट ऑफ ए होगा।
Print of A होगा. Okay, so can anyone tell me, is it correct or not? How many of you are agree that it will give print of A?
सर ये होना चाहिए फाइनल के साथ लगा।
प्रिंट ऑफ बी होगा सर।
Print of B, okay. So you can say I'm not getting any error, and okay, I just have a different class name, sorry. Java C, and name is demo final method. And let me run this file. So I'm getting print of B. So this is normal concept of method overriding. Fine. So even though if I write final keyword here with this method, there is no meaning of having this keyword. Why, that I'm going to explain, don't worry. Now what I'm doing, I'm just removing this and I'm trying to edit here. And let me compile this file again. See, you can see. Print in B cannot override print in A. Are you getting this concept? Print in class B cannot override the print method which is in class A. Why? Because print method of class A is final method. So the way we cannot inherit any property of final class, we cannot override any final method. If any method is declared with final keyword, we cannot override that method. पहले अगर यहाँ पे final keyword नहीं है तो what I can say? I can say this print method will override this method. Fine, this concept is method overriding. So method of subclass will override the method of superclass. But if this method is final, that concept will not work. Final method cannot be overridden by any other methods. Are you getting this? And similarly, if I write here, earlier it was here, and now let's say I create one more class, class C, which extends B. And in this class, if I want to go with same method, let's say public void print, then also I will get the same error. What will happen here? Class C and B is having inheritance in both the classes, same method with same parameter. So method overriding is there. But in superclass, the method is having final keyword. What does it mean? You cannot override this method. अभी ये override कर ही नहीं सकते हो आप. So let us see whether it gives an error or not. You can see print in C cannot override print in B. तो यहाँ पे जो C क्लास में प्रिंट मेथड है, यूजुअली ये मेथड ओवरराइड करती है सुपर क्लास की मेथड को, बट ड्यू टू दिस कीवर्ड यू कैन नॉट ओवरराइड दिस मेथड of class B. So that's it. If you don't want to override any method, then surely you will have to use final keyword. If you don't want to modify any value, then declare that variable with final keyword. If you don't want to override any method, then declare that method with final keyword. If you don't want to inherit any properties of any class, then declare that class with final keyword. That's it. That is the conclusion of final keyword. Let me know if you have any doubt.
No, sir.
Fine. So now here I have completed the entire final keyword, then method overriding and nested class. So from the next session we will start abstract class, and then slowly we will try to switch over to the IDE NetBeans. So far is it clear? Then I'm about to end the session. It's already 11 o'clock.
Okay, sir.
Fine. So still you need to do practice, because this subject is very interesting, and until and unless you will do practice, you cannot say that now you know all the fundamentals. These are the things which as of now you remember, but later on when you will go for practice, then surely you will forget it. So more practice is needed. So do it, and if you are not getting anything, then at that time also you can message me. I will try to resolve the errors. Fine. But the only thing is, try to go with more and more practice to have more grip on the subject. Fine. So now you can join the next session. Enjoy the weekends. Fine. Bye bye. Take care, everyone.
Bye, sir.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, sir.